Continuing the trend of BT7 bringing back some more old school yellow bosses back into the meta, we're going to make this video to talk about Lordknightmon. So for those of you who don't know, Lordknightmon got some secret support in BT7. It's not exclusively Lordknight support, right? It's yellow support, specifically Pulsemon support, but it does synergize very well with what the Lordknight deck is trying to do. So for those of you who don't remember Lordknight, you must not have been playing BT5 if you don't remember Lordknight. Essentially, it's a level 6 yellow boss monster that when attacking, you can play a level 3 Digimon, any yellow level 3 Digimon from your hand for 0 play cost, or you can play any yellow warrior type Digimon, most notably being Gladiemon, maybe not notably for Gladiemon, but definitely knightmon. With knightmon on play, minus 4000 DP to your opponent. It was a deck that was very much capable of swarming and controlling your opponent's board with minus DP effects. The new BT7 Pulsemon support stacks on top of that by allowing you to gain memory when attacking, being able to easily set your security to 3, enabling your BT3 Angewomon effect, so you can call 2 cards off 1 Lordknightmon swing, and most importantly, the new Electric Rush option card. So that is a card that allows you to increase the DP of one of your Digimon by, I believe it's 2000, and then if you're at exactly 3 security, you can restand that Digimon, essentially allowing your Lordknightmon to swing twice. And for those of you who weren't aware, Lordknightmon effect is not once per turn, and I'm sure we all know that Angewomon effect is not once per turn from the old Yellow War Greymon shenanigans. So this is a deck that is very powerful, very much capable of swarming when they draw their stack that they really want to get to, and it's difficult to prevent them from doing so thanks to cards like BT6 Pulsemon, Blinding Ray, which we all know, and even the new BT7 Pulsemon, which if you're exactly 3 security when you attack, you can gain 2 memory. So there's a lot of ways for this deck to function in order to get off its double attack Lordknightmon. And even if you don't get off the double attack Lordknightmon, I still think Lordknightmon is a card and a deck that is going to have a lot of interesting value in BT7 format, just because we all know that the slower tamer-based decks are going to have a hard time dealing with Swarm. And although your DP reduction may not be able to contend with your opponent's tamers, you are going to be able to, anytime they do move those tamers into Digimon or with other decks that are not tamer based, then you can very easily control board, outswarm, and outpace. So I have kind of an example build I'm going to show you guys right now on card.dev, just because I don't like TTS and I don't have proxies printed. But if you guys caught my most recent live stream, then you saw me play testing Lordknightmon in EX1 format. I was testing out the BT6 Pulsemon / BT3 Angewomon interaction. So for those of you guys who don't know, when you choose your effects, you can choose which order you activate them in. So as long as you're the turn player, you get priority on which way you activate your effects. So in this case, you have a stack with Lordknightmon and Angewomon, and then even if you're at, let's say you're at 5 security, what you could do is you could swing with your Lordknightmon, use Lordknightmon's effect to play the BT6 Pulsemon from your hand. BT6 Pulsemon effect is on play. You can remove up to 2 cards from your security stack and then gain 1 memory for each. So in this case, you are at 5 security. The BT6 Pulsemon will remove 2 cards from your security, so you'll go down to 3 security, and then you'll gain 2 memory. So let's say you played into Lordknightmon on your turn, so you're at 0 memory. Then BT6 Pulsemon on play, you gain the 2 memory after having played it with Lordknight's effect. And then after that, you can activate Angewomon's effect, since now you are attacking with 3 or less security, and then you can play another level 3 from your hand. And you gain the 2 memory from the BT6 Pulsemon, allowing you to then play Electric Rush from your hand and restand your Lordknight, swing again, and get another 2 Digimon out onto your board. So that's kind of the core combo of your deck. And even if you don't have the 5 memory or the 5 security to gain 2 memory with BT6 Pulsemon effect, there is the new BT7 Pulsemon, which inheritable is on attacking if you have 3 security I think exactly, then you can gain 2 memory when attacking. So that also allows you to play the Electric Rush from your hand. So it's a very, very strong combo deck. Of course, you do have to draw your combo, but if you do draw your combo, then you are going to be in a good spot where you can swarm the board very heavily. There isn't going to be a lot of decks that can deal with that, and it's going to be a very fun, powerful deck, especially for those of you who were Lordknight aficionados in BT5. There is definitely a good reason to bring it back in BT7, even though it was still strong in BT6. We didn't see a lot of people choosing to play it, maybe just because of BT5 burnout, but the deck has never really been bad. It's just finally getting a nice boost to bring it back into more modern Digimon play. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to show you guys my example deck list and then some other tech choices that you can choose to make with the deck. Alright guys, so here is the example list that I wanted to show you guys. This is kind of like a basic raw skeleton to showcase the idea of this deck. We'll start with the eggs. Of course, it's 4 Pikmon, which is when attacking, minus 1000 DP if you have 3 or more Digimon on your board, standard. And then for our 5th egg, we have a lot of different check choices. I chose to showcase BBmon from BT6, which is if you have 3 security cards when attacking, gain a memory. You could, of course, do yellow Upamon or yellow Koromon. You can always slot one of those into your 5th egg slot, or you can even mix and match, run maybe only 3 Pikmon, 1 BBmon, 1 Upamon, etc. You have a lot of good choices for eggs in this deck. Don't feel limited in what you can choose. Play what you feel is best. Moving on to rookies, we are playing 16 rookies in this deck. A relatively high rookie count, but because we're going to be calling them so much from our hand with Lordknight and Angelwoman effect, we want to make sure we have enough fuel to keep stoking that fire in order to overwhelm our opponent and force them into a GG scenario. We have 4 Kotemon. If you guys have seen my previous Lordknightmon videos from BT5, you guys know I've been pretty down on this card in the past, but I think it has pretty good value moving into this BT7 version of the deck. Number 1, allowing you to search for your combo pieces is very strong. And number 2, I do think BT7 is going to be a more setup heavy format with people taking turns to play their Tamers, play their Huckmons, maybe like play some Eismons, I don't know. So I think there's going to be more time for you to search out combo pieces, and Kotemon has a lot of increased value in my opinion. Then of course we're going to play 4 Starmons, very powerful effect in a Lordknight deck, of course. On play, minus 1000 for each Digimon on your board. You do Swarm, so you're going to be gaining a lot of value off that effect. 2 Promo Pulsemon, draw 1 if you're at 3 memory, gain 1 if you are at 3 or less security. You guys all know what this card does. Finally, we have BT6 Pulsemon and BT7 Pulsemon. So BT6 Pulsemon is mainly going to be used as a combo enabler. So again, if you have a Lordknightmon and Angelwoman stack and you're at more than 3 security, you can play Pulsemon with the Lordknight effect in order to set yourself to 3 security, gain 1 or 2 memory, and then be able to get off the Angelwoman effect to call another level 3 from your hand. Very powerful combo enabler. And of course there are scenarios where the inheritable, which is if you have 3 security cards exactly, the Digimon gains jamming. So I think that's okay inheritable. It will come up sometimes. Jamming is always a nice effect to have, but don't necessarily count on it. The main reason we play this card is to combo it with our Lordknight and to turn on our Angelwomons. And then we have BT7 Pulsemon, which is when attacking, if you have 3 security cards, gain 2 memory. So again, we use this in order to turn on our Electric Rush, which coincidentally costs 2 memory. So there's going to be a combo enabler piece once again. Notably, the BT6 Pulsemon can also set you to 2 memory. If you were at 5 security, you can trash 2, gain 2 memory, and that will also turn on your Electric Rush. So these 2 Pulsemons, very powerful combo enablers. And then we have 2 copies of Bushi Agumon as our 15th and 16th level 3. This card needs no explanation. Rush for game. Call it for free off Lordknight or Angelwoman. We all know that's good. Level 4s have not really changed in the new format. 4 Pedomons, 4 8mons, and 2 Gladymons. So as far as Pedomon and 8mon go, there aren't really any other yellow level 4s that have more generic usefulness than these two, so we maxed out on them, of course. And then finally, the 2 copies of Gladiemon. I have been a Gladiemon hater in the past, but I think the card has value just because sometimes you're gonna need another body to play off your Lordknight effect. You don't want to spend all your level 3s on Lordknight, since you need those for Angelomon, since Angelomon can only call level 3s. So it does give you just an extra body to be able to use with Lordknight effect, and sometimes you are going to be able to get the search effect off, which does feel nice, but we're not really counting on that. It's mostly just an extra body. Moving on to level 5s, we do deviate a little bit from the previous Lordknightmon decks, which have made room for yellow War Growlmon. Instead, we're sticking to 8 level 5s. It's just going to be 4 copies of Angelomon and 4 copies of Knightmon. 4 Knightmon has always been mandatory in Lordknightmon decks, so we're not going to get into why that is a choice. But we are going to talk about the 4 Angelomon. Again, this is a combo deck, and you really want to max out on that main combo piece, which is going to be the Angelomon Inheritable, which of course is if you're at 3 or less security, when attacking, you can play a level 3 Digimon from your hand, and it is not once per turn, again, allowing you to Electric Rush and get it off multiple times in one turn, if possible. In combination with the Lordknight, lets you play up to 4 Digimon from your hand for free on one single attack. That's going to be the main powerful combo of this deck, and it is really insane. So yeah, of course we do play the 4 Lordknightmon as that main boss, which enables the whole combo. I'm not going to go too much into Lordknight, we all know what he does now. But I do want to highlight the secondary boss in this deck, which is new from BT7, is the Kazuchimon. So for those of you who don't know what Kazuchimon does, it is if you are at 3 or more security cards when digivolving, you can gain 2 memory, so it's essentially a 3 to digivolve. But the more powerful and more interesting effect is that if you are at less than 3 security, so if you're at 2, 1, or 0 security, you can recovery +1 until you are at 3 security exactly. So at its best, at its highest value, if you digivolve into Kazuchimon when you are at 0 security, you will get off a recovery +3 for only 5 memory, which is very highly valued undercosted recovery. If we were to compare it to, let's say, something like Magnadramon, is a recovery +2 for 11 memory. So you can see how much more efficient this card is. It is conditional. It is a when digivolving effect, but you are able to call level 5s for free thanks to Lordknightmon effect being able to play Knightmon. So I think Kazuchimon definitely has value, and I chose to showcase this card just because it's new. Of course, there are other level 6s that have value in this deck, and we'll go over those in a bit. And the secondary effect of Kazuchimon is on your turn, if you have 3 or more security cards, it gains security attack +1. So essentially, if you're at 3 or more security, when you digivolve into this card, you gain 2 memory, so he's a 3 to digivolve instead of a 5 to digivolve, and he's security attack +1, which gives you some pressure. And if you are at 2 or less security, he lets you recover. I think it's an all-around good card. It makes a lot of sense in what this deck is trying to do, and therefore we play 2 copies of it as your secondary boss to go into. Finally, to round out the deck, we have our 3 copies of TK. Don't need to explain that one. And then finally, of course, 2 copies of Electric Rush. It is 2 cost, and one of your Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP. I believe previously I said 2,000 DP, but it is 3,000 DP. And if you have 3 security cards exactly, you can unsuspend one of your Digimon. This is your combo enabler. This is what lets your Lordknight swing twice. This is the card that we are kind of building the deck to be able to get off and being able to get that huge board swarm, powerful 1-turn attack off. This is a very, very strong card, and I think it's what makes this deck even viable in BT7, honestly. So we play 2 copies of it. We don't necessarily want it to clog our hand, and the security effect does add it to your hand, so that's always nice. And then it's just 2 copies of Blinding Ray, 2 copies of Spiral Masquerade, and 1 copy of Reinforced Memory Boost, just to round out the last 5 cards of the deck. Let's go into tech choices, some cards that I didn't include in my main build that I think are viable and that you want to consider. Number 1, of course, I did kind of touch on it, is War Growlmon. I do think War Growlmon is just a little bit too slow for what this deck is trying to do. Of course, the Digiburst 2 to -4,000 can come up in order to pop those pesky memory blockers, which you are going to want to get rid of in order to be able to activate your memory gain effects, which allow you to get off your Electric Rush. However, there are other ways to pop those memory blockers. We have Starmons and we have Knightmons, which we can be calling. So I don't think War Growlmon is necessarily needed, but it can be nice to have. If you choose to make room for it, then you're going to be sacrificing maybe some Angelomon slots, which I don't think is a good idea. But It's there and you can play it. So it has proven to be good in the past. So I don't see why it couldn't continue to also be good. I just think there are better things to be playing now. For our other tech choices, there are Sakuyamon and Yellow Wargreymon, which you could be playing over Kazujimon. Sakuyamon, of course, is especially good against Jesmon, so if you expect a lot of Jesmon in BT7, then Sakuyamon goes up in value, and it also can help you against other aggressive decks that like to hide their stack and raising, especially in a yellow deck where people tend to be scared of your DP reduction, so they'll hide their boss and raising and then bring them out when they're ready. Sakuyamon can be a good counter to that type of strategy. And of course, Yellow Wargreymon can combo very well with Anjuwamon, which we are maxing out on. Of course, Yellow Wargreymon can attack twice on its own without any help from Electric Rush. But if you do happen to have Electric Rush, then he can attack 3 times, so that's pretty cool. He also does the minus 6,000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon, which is a very strong removal in and of itself. Worth noting is that Kazujimon kind of approximates the Wargreymon effect because he does have security attack +1, so they both kind of do 2 security checks, but Wargreymon, of course, does it by attacking twice, allowing you to proc Anjuwamon twice, and also does the minus 6,000 DP, which Kazujimon does not have. So I think Wargreymon has a value and definitely should be considered as a secondary boss if you want to be more aggressive and have more removal in this version of the deck. Another card that I did not include is Chaosmon Valderarm as a level 7 option. I'm not playing any level 7s in the main deck. I just couldn't really find room for it. If you did run Valderarm, you could probably cut like maybe a couple level 3s. But as I said before, this deck can like spam out level 3 so much that you really want to have as many in your hand as possible in order for you to be able to call them for free when you have the opportunity to do so. So we really want to be greedy with our level 3s in this version of the deck, and having to fit into Valderarms and cutting down level 3s doesn't really make sense. But of course, Valderarm is always a good card because sometimes it just lets you squeeze out that extra little DP reduction that you needed in order to fully wipe your opponent's board. So that's always a very, very powerful effect, and he gets the +3 memory to you when your opponent finally finds a way to get him off your board. So always a big threat card. You can maybe find room for him, but I don't necessarily feel that it's needed in this deck. Another tech choice, you could run Yellow Memory Boost over Reinforced Memory Boost. Yellow Memory Boost lets you dig for your combo pieces and lets you gain 2 memory, which is, of course, lets you get off your Electric Rush. However, I think Reinforced Memory Boost is just a really broken card. Like, it's so undercosted for all the things it's trying to do. So it's 6 memory essentially for recover 1, draw 1, and then when you get the delay off, you gain 3 memory. So it really costs 3 memory in the long run. Such an insane effect. Definitely a reason it's limited to 1, and I think we play broken cards when they're available to us, right? Like, we play 1 Ice Wall, we play 1 Hidden Potential, and we play 1 Reinforce. I think that just makes sense, but there is an argument to be made for Yellow Memory Boost, which I think is fair. And finally, the card that I did not include in the deck, which I realistically probably should have, is, of course, level 3 Yellow Lucemon. If you guys watch my videos, you know I am a Lucemon hater. I really don't like the way this card messes up your rookie ratios. It can be such a brick. But I think that in a deck like this, where you're so focused on being able to play level 3s for free, the Lucemon value just goes so far through the roof. I think realistically, you probably take out maybe 2 copies of Starmons, or even you forego promo Pulsemon, or you take out 2 Kotamons in order to make room for Lucemon at 2 copies. Maybe even only take out 1 Starmons and then play 1 Lucemon. But I think realistically you do play Lucemon in this deck. I'm just biased against the card, and I also don't own the card, and I don't want to spend $100 on a pair of Lucemons. I'm going to keep it really real with you guys on that one. But if you have Lucemons and you are looking to play this deck, then I think you do find room for it. Again, you probably remove a Starmons or a promo Pulsemon in order to make room for them in some sort of ratio. Alright guys, so that's going to be the BT7 Electric Rush Lordknightmon sort of introduction slash deck profile slash how to play video. I hope you guys learned something and are now interested in playing this deck. I think it is really cool that BT7 has allowed us to bring back some old boss cards that have been forgotten about, given some new refreshments to the format and to our old dust collecting cards. I think Digimon in general recently has been a game where we kind of move on to the new hotness and then forget that the old cards that used to be good can still be good. I think that was proven especially last format, where pretty much no one was playing Lordknightmon, even though the deck was definitely still good. There's probably just some kind of form of Lordknight burnout from BT5 and how long it was and how everyone was playing the deck. But I think Lordknight is now even better than it was before. The new Pulsemon support has really boosted it, turned it into this really powerful version of itself where it can just like swarm so heavily and like just really overwhelm your opponent with cards. So if that's a playstyle that interests you, if that's something that you are looking to do, if you are just an old Lordknight aficionado from BT5 and you wish you could play it again and you were too scared to do it in BT6 because everyone was telling you Lordknight sucks now and you should just play Gobblebond, well, here is your excuse to bring the deck back 100% for sure in the coming weeks. Alright guys, so hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video.